Strick.
Definitely happy Easter. Let me see if I can get in this screen here. Happy Easter.
Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great Easter Sunday. Did you have a big service today, Strick?
We did. We actually was out of our church, and we were at the Civic Center. So we had like a big citywide Easter celebration. Went really well, and I am super tired. You know, it takes a lot to be able to pull off services, but when you're not in your own facility, is even more work. So yeah.
We usually go to a sunrise service on the river here, but they canceled it because of the rain. We've had bad weather. It's cold, rainy for the last 3 days. Tornadoes. I mean, it's just been a crazy week.
Wow. So how have you been? You've been working on some stuff?
I have been working on some stuff, getting my new show and podcast ready called Solo Marketing. I actually did a little test, not really a test run, but I was working on my show elements yesterday for about 2.5 hours. I live streamed. So everybody that joined me on that live stream, thank you very much. And hopefully you learned some, behind the stream eCam tricks, because I actually just built the show everybody was watching, so it's one of those things. If you're going to be doing, going to be 2 to 3 hours of work, you might as well make content out of it, right? And people showed up, and I had a guest, and Ash Borland was a guest, and we talked about. Actually, I felt like I suckered him into free coaching, because I was like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" So,
that's cool.
And I know what he charges per hour. So, hey, I think I made money.
That's funny. So I got to say this. First of all, I could not do live. I thought it would be really cool because I'm always creating right here in this seat. All right. But it's hard for me to create and to be live because I make so many mistakes. And not only that, I get so distracted because I'll be working on something and then turn around to my TV and watch something and turn back around and start creating again. It'll be all day. Somebody would get like you have to have my type of ADHD to be able to follow me during creative time.
One of the things that helped me was in my own head, I'm talking out the show or my thoughts, right? And I just, since I had an audience of 4 or 5 people, I actually stayed more focused, right? Because I know they're there watching me, and I'm asking, I was laying out the boxes for all the interviews, 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, 4 up, 5 up, and I was like, did something a little different than we do on our show, and they were like, can you make this wider, and can you make the grid smaller, and it'd be cool if you did. And so I just listened to what everybody said, and and then I could kind of I laid some of my ideas or verbiage and see how it resonated. And if people were like, oh man, that's awesome, then I kind of know I'm on the right track. So I think it's kind of like it's live collaboration. I think it's pretty cool. I think why waste, and making mistakes is fine, because I think that's authentic. Everybody makes mistakes. You don't just sit down and
Brant, I don't make mistakes, brother.
You don't?
I just start over and over again.
And that's fine, because hey, this didn't work. Let's do the left. Let's put the logo on the right. You know what I mean? And then having some other people go, oh, that's good. That right there. That's cool. That helps a little bit.
I just sent it to you for you to take a look at, and you can tell me whether it's good or not.
No, you should do it live. Share it with everybody. So what we're going to do is, during that episode, or one of the people in the chat watched the stream show, and they said they would like to see more of that kind of content in the stream show. So moving forward, I think we're going to do a little bit more tutorials about how Strick runs the show, how to set up graphics, because I think we do a show every week, so there's a lot of the things that maybe we take for granted that people want to learn.
Right. So
we have 5 people watching.
Do we? Well, hello everybody. What are you guys doing?
I don't see no chats going on. I need to.
Yeah, I'm actually. That's what I'm doing. Going to the community and taking a look at it. So we do have our guest in the green room waiting on us. So we got a great show coming up for you guys. And there you go, Melvin Miller. Why not just be the first one to holler at your guy? Thank you for hanging out with us today. We Brant, please tell everybody what your website is. I want you to do that really quick before we get started.
All right. It's www.brant, B-R-A-N-T, Collins, COLLINS.com. I will put it in the chat here.
And here we go. I really love that. I don't know if you were watching.
know.
I was watching, but if you can see it right now, the stream show, we are on YouTube as well. So no matter where you're watching from, please go to our YouTube channel. And
We need the watch hours.
Yeah. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the stream show. Click the bell for notifications and hang out with your boy, the stream guys, DJ Strick and Brant Collins. Brant is actually putting his website into our chat. I want you to go there and see one of the best websites I've seen in a very long time. Like, this guy has a crazy website, and I'm trying to figure out why our website didn't look like his website, because it's super cool.
Well, ours did look super cool, but I had to I had to do a little different. I think the one thing that I did is I took new pictures. I think on our website I used a picture from 5 years ago.
Yeah, so I used a picture from last week.
Whatever. I think you were like 24 in the picture we got. But I have the FX3 at work, and it has a remote with your phone. So I just did my own photo shoot. So I was my own photographer. Because sometimes you get, I don't know about you, you probably don't. I get nervous about, like, do my poses look stupid, especially if I'm doing, So I just tried a bunch of stuff and found what I like. So,
well, can I tell you something about stupid poses?
What about?
They do look stupid until you put them up, and then it's like, wow.
Then you're like, wow,
I didn't know that would work.
Great.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. Hey, so without any further ado, this is Easter Sunday, and all of us are taking the time to stream together. And of course, man, I got somebody from LinkedIn. What an idea of showing us how to create. So I don't know who that is on LinkedIn, but thank you for coming through. And I'm saying that because I wasn't keeping up with the chat, but I do see you LinkedIn user. I got to figure out who that person is. That being
I'll
said,
go over to LinkedIn. I'll go over there and find out.
So we had this young lady that we met through Rob Balasabas. Big shouts out to him. And she is a phenomenal creator, phenomenal leader on LinkedIn. And this young lady, I promise you're going to love her ideas. You're going to love how she creates, how she builds community, and whatever she's thinking about and doing, guess what? You need to be thinking about and doing it too. Even if you are a person that loves fried chicken, this person, String Nugent, is for you. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring her to the show. Had her in the green room. And
Strick, that is Angela Brown, just to let you know, so I can get her name out real quick.
Thank you for hanging out with us. There she is.
Hello, String.
Hey, everyone.
Let me see if I can get. Oh, man, it's great. It's great. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm going to get you in this camera just a little bit better here.
I feel like I'm out of the scope because, like, I have a little. Okay, that's better. Hi.
Yeah. Hello. How are you, String?
It's Monday morning in the future.
It is.
It's
great. We're
like
talking
my
to someone
festival
from the
that I saw
future.
Yes, and we're going to
is
talk
awesome.
a lot of future stuff today. I love trends, and I know you. And I do like fried chicken, so I giggled when Strick says, like, if you like fried chicken, you'll like me.
Well, we definitely have to talk to you about you and your love for fried chicken, but more importantly, and thank you for waking up in the future and hanging out with us. We really think highly of you and what you do in the creator space. And we got some people here today I know you can add value to. So that being said, can we jump into the conversation really quick while you drink your coffee? And I know at one point you were focusing on LinkedIn and being a LinkedIn creator and building community there, but you've switched some of your content you're creating now. Am I right in saying you're doing NFTs? Is that the area that you switched to?
Yeah, it's so funny because, like, I'm always like, how do you monetize? I'm just kind of curious. Or how do you, because as a creator, we do play the game of attention, right? And LinkedIn was the attention for me when I started 4 years ago. Was it 3 years ago or 4 years ago? When I had all the eyeballs on me. Now everyone's a LinkedIn coach.
Right.
But the numbers are still there organically.
Okay.
Especially if you're a coach. But my business is not a coach anymore.
So
or
you
even consulting. Yeah, so I switched over to NFT because I'm a business person and a creator, but also the opportunity cost is much more fruitful in NFT.
And that's teaching an NFT or using the NFT model to monetize how you create.
Yes, and at the end of the day, like I always like because I feel like YouTube kind of created that opportunity for us to be creators, right?
Right.
Or like share our knowledge, monetize our influence, and then LinkedIn did that, but they didn't have the tools to monetize. I was waiting for them for 4 years because I was the first wave of creators. I think now they're starting to realize LinkedIn became LinkedIn today because of the content being created.
Right.
But to me, that's already too late. So even if you get the traffic, you have to click 3 times to go onto your website or something like that, right? Which increases the friction. So I'm all about the user flow and controlling traffic at the end of the day. And then I guess like NFT. Go ahead, Brant. You have a
well. Let's break it down for some people that are joining us that maybe not understand. So just in a real quick 30,000 feet view, and what it even means. What is an NFT?
It's a program. I guess it's like for me in the very layman terms because people are not very technical. It's like access to the metaverse. If we because we live inside Web 2, which is like all about input and conversations and interacting with each other, but NFT to me is a ticket to the blockchain or the metaverse, which allows you to track and monetize.
Right. So are you, well, I mean, for people that are watching, so it's a non-fungible token, and that token, what she's talking about is it can actually track, it's a smart contract basically, and she can make her content and put a value on that. So for the life of her content, even if she sells it to somebody, she could say that she wants 15% royalty anytime anybody else sells that or shares that. Whereas now we're kind of beholden to an ad revenue model, or, you know, like we monetize through brand deals, you know, so somebody pays us X amount to provide a service or eyeballs or whatever, attention. So you're right, the attention economy. But that, for what interests me about non-fungible token is, and I kind of always relate it back to radio. So right now, if you have a song, then you have, and it plays somewhere, you get a little bit of royalty, and you have a third-party person, ASCAP BMI, that goes out and collects that money for you, and you get a small percentage. If that song was an NFT, then forever, whatever you put on your royalties would automatically come to you. It's just kind of, it gets rid of those middle people. So that's what's scary about NFT, I think, to everybody in the business world, is it cuts a lot of people out of how they make money today.
Yeah, well, I think that's just one use case, and there's so many use cases for, just like how there's different models of how to monetize your influence and creation and content. Like today, here, like you're trying to build up an audience and saying you get X amount of views, so then you could get sponsorship. Web 2 for me was like, I felt like I was renting. I wasn't really an owner.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it.
Yes. Whereas NFT, I have ownership. I get control my destiny. I guess like I'm talking more very and I love how Brent was talking to the technical aspect, but and I do feel like most creators don't think in technical aspect. So you have to like sell them the vision. I was like, do you want to rent, or do you want to be an owner, or do you want to own your own land, be kings and queens, and create your own business? And I think that's the switch that creators have to do. Okay, Strick, you have something to say. I'm put your hand up like this.
Yeah, I did. Like I'm in the class or something. Let me stop. Let me stop for just a second, because I want to reset the room for everybody that's watching us today. Like, we are listening to String today. She's far ahead of the rest of us, okay? We're not talking about cameras. We're not talking about getting on and creating. We're not talking about that. String is here to help you learn how to monetize, but do that in the future. Like, if you know anything about her, if you need to know information, go to LinkedIn really quick, look her up, and come back to our show so you'll get an understanding of who this young lady is, what she does. She is literally today, Like she's in the future time-wise because it's Monday for her. But she's also leading in how to help content creators learn how to not just create, but to be business owners. So the transition, she said earlier, she moved from LinkedIn and doing some things with YouTube because she wanted to transition to be a business owner. She felt like she was renting and not owning the content. So I'm just, Brant, I just wanted to reset the room because I want people really to hear this. Yeah. This is not going to be, hey, you can do it, turn your camera on, use your phone. This is not any of those type conversations. This is a conversation for people that really want to monetize what they're doing and be business owners as content creators. It takes some work, but she is leading in this regard. So I'm on, everybody's kind of, it's kind of like in school, put your thinking caps on, please, because I don't want you to miss this because it's not all the latest and greatest as far as equipment. We're not talking about equipment today. We're talking about how can you be a real business owner and control what you do. All right. So I'm sorry, String. I had to say that because I really.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yes. I wanted to be sure that people understood what we're talking about today because you're going to push all of us. Like this conversation will be more of a pull conversation because people are going to have to think not about, if you don't have a show, it's going to be really hard. Like we're not talking about creating shows. We're talking about creating businesses. So String, as you are creating a business, what were some of the things that you saw, and you might have to repeat yourself, but you saw that you needed to do based on monetizing your creativity?
When I first started, I was a KFC chick, and I lived in like low commission house, low commission flats or something like that. Is that the same word? Just to give context about like my background. But I always seem to understand what opportunity is or like follow my curiosity. And I do understand that, where I am today is not an overnight success. Like I just stack it. All the wins and all my lessons, all my failures are just stacked. And Strick and Brant wouldn't be here today if they haven't gone through all the mistakes that they made today. And I just happen to leverage each thing, my network, going overseas, meeting the right people, connecting with the right people. Like even today, like I know nothing, and I have always that mindset, but I know just enough to be dangerous. And you don't, which is true, right? You don't, because everyone thinks they need to be the best. But Elon, if you look at Elon as well, he probably doesn't know all the fundamentals, but I bet you like he had to work and probably sleep less just to understand what's going on and ask the right questions. And to me, that's where I realized is like, I did not know about business. How come I'm getting cheated on all the time with like business deals? Why do like brands pay me 3 months later for completing a task? That does not make sense. All the things that doesn't make sense, like I pushed back a little bit, and when they didn't, when one didn't fall through, I kind of said, hey, I know that you like to work with me, but you didn't pay for my last gig. If you want to work with me, please pay this up, and then let's continue the conversation. Now I'll go like a potential brand deal because of it. Because like my standard of work is like, setting the boundaries, following that expectation and deliver. Under promise, over deliver is something I really believe in as well. Because like in this space, go ahead, Brant. In this space, I feel like a lot of creatives don't think like business people, but you need to think like business owners. If you want to monetize, get income every month, and like make this a full-time thing, because we can do it. There's so many opportunities now.
So are you saying that basically that we're all doing that, what you said, right? We're emails back and forth, negotiating a deal, trying to get, contracts and back and forth, deliverables and all that other good stuff, that most of that can be replaced with the NFT, correct? Is that kind of how you're using it?
Well, no, because like I realized I was the bottleneck of my own personal brand.
Oh, very good.
Because so my last business, people came to me, and I was trying to like create a business that doesn't need me, but I was the bottleneck. Okay. It's like people want my brain, Whereas Chubbyverse is like another business model, whereas like people loved me or knew I was behind the team, but I wasn't the bottleneck of that business anymore. So I just like do, and I still do brand deals around me because that's still another income stream that I want to maintain from now on, right? But Chubbyverse is like an IP business model where it's like the more value this IP is, it's like me building up a whole Hello Kitty, and it could grow.
Got you.
It grows without me now. It doesn't grow
All right.
with me now.
So
yeah,
can
go
you
ahead,
explain to me that NFT
Yeah.
business that you have? Is it a collectible? Is it your content? How are you using the NFT?
So it's like I guess like we need to show the picture of it. It's like a fat chubby corn or a dopey chubby corn, and people buy it as a ticket to join the community to get exclusive alpha and drops. So every like our business model is like every quarter you get a collectible item.
Very good.
It's like, you know how like I guess like it's like Louis Vuitton. If you have a Louis Vuitton NFT, but they give you a bag every 6 months.
Got you.
Wouldn't you want that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want that? Like,
right.
and that the value is a bit more interesting because it's 4 times the value, right, or more. Just because like you know that if you hold this particular NFT, you always get like 1 or 2 items per year. If you hold on to this NFT. And so there's a secondary level where it's like if you hold the NFT and you sell it on the secondary market. This is not financial advice. I'm getting to, there's a new law in Australia that says like if you don't have financial background, you might get in trouble. So there's another whole conversation about that. But but I talk about business models because NFT is like what you said, Brent. You could hold you could like create rules within the NFT contract, and then it's like your promise to people.
Right.
So it's almost like, what is the business model? Like, are you like a coach that provides content to your like videos and to you and to the community? So I guess like it's like almost like that's the value of it as well, and it's more interesting because the market dictates the value of that NFT, which dictates the NFT, the value of your business as well.
Okay, so let me walk through this real quick and let me see if I kind of get this. So I'm trying to break this down as something that everybody can understand. So a lot of people today are using Patreon. You have levels in Patreon, but you're paying in dollars, right? If I pay $30 a month, I'll get extra content from Strick, and I'm in a secret community, and that's great. What you're doing though is instead of paying in dollars, I'm buying the NFT, which is a ticket for your course. And let's say if a year from now I say, you know what, I've kind of learned a lot from String. I don't need this course anymore. I want to sell it to Strick, but you become popular over the next year. And now that NFT, I actually can make a little money on it, but you're still going to make money on it, right? Now that Strick has it and he can join the courses, but then I can't because I sold him the NFT. Is that kind of a good example?
Yes.
Okay.
Yay.
Good.
Good.
See, I got this.
I'm glad you walked through it. But I'm right along.
Well, basically, what you're making is your own currency. It's your own dollar. So you're not stuck in dollar or ruble and that's why NFTs scare everybody, because you couldn't do financial sanctions. That's why, Russia and Ukraine and everybody's trying to get money through Bitcoin, right? Because you can't control it. So that's what scares the real world.
I love what Steve says as well, because like out of all of the projects that I worked on or brands that I worked on, and community is our biggest. It's not an audience that we care about. It's the community, right? Because our community gives us the feedback loop, and it tells us how to improve. They tell us like they will throw something away if there's no value.
Right.
Okay.
So when the NFT doesn't give them value and they say something, it's either because they want financial incentives or because the value of the product itself is not worth it. So they will dump it.
So,
go ahead.
I want to ask you a quick question, so that I can help everybody that's listening and Brant and I to kind of get to where you are, because I do think that this is you are ages, like 2 years from now, people are going to be like, hey, I use NFT and I have it with my community, and you're doing it now. Like, this is something that I do believe, 2025, more and more people will be doing. So I'm super excited to have this conversation with you, because it's the same mindset that you had when you started with LinkedIn and decided, hey, I want to crush it in LinkedIn, and you did the work to become a leader in that community. That being said, did you leverage your community that you have built, whether it was inside of LinkedIn or elsewhere, to actually start building community outside of LinkedIn? So basically, say you had 100 people in LinkedIn, and then you took those 100 people into your own network, and maybe like half of them followed you, but you had now a community that was your own platform, your own community that you could then leverage, because these 50 people really wanted to be with you and were willing to go through the steps to get the NFTs. Am I right in saying that?
A bit of both.
Okay.
Because like not everyone was ready for that jump.
I got you.
But the people who did follow me did really well.
The people did really well because of the community that you built and the NFT that you built. When they got on initially, your growth in your own company with your NFT actually helped I think that's amazing.
So like you get rewarded for being an early adopter, I guess, in this particular space.
Right.
And I'm actually looking for different tools that makes it easier for a creator, because there's still a lot of skill set gap. Like, you need to be very technical to set up the contract. But what if you don't need the developer to set up the contract?
Right.
So what
I'm looking for
platform
tools for that.
What platform are you
Yes.
using? Are you using like OpenSea or something like that?
Yeah, when I first did my project, I think the first step that anyone who wants to delve into is like setting up the wallet, which is like it's like setting up a bank, right? You need to have Ethereum to buy and purchase. And when you buy and purchase an NFT, like Strick, you have an NFT, you have a Top Shot, but I would love for you and Brent to come into my community, so I would like to give you an NFT each.
Listen, I'm coming.
I would come.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So this is how I'm board people as well, because like I just like I have a dedicated treasury to give out NFTs to help onboard folks like you. Because like I do feel like you are super curious and you haven't found the right community. It doesn't matter. Like I give you a ticket to give you access to my community, because I want you to explore. I want you to learn. I want you to go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
And I think that if you look, there's a bunch of questions here. So maybe we can go to some of those. But I see a lot of them, like from Steve there, that says, how do you spot content or digital assets that could gain value? And then again, I think he said something, I think it'd be hard to predict. I think that a lot of people are doing the Top Shot NFT game or the Gary V Friends game as you're buying and selling, trade. She is buying and selling herself. She is buying into her String believes in herself. So she doesn't have to predict anything. She knows her value in that NFT because she knows she's going to do the work, right? So what she's saying is why go buy all these other NFTs and trade them and maybe make a buck or two when you can own all your own NFTs and get people to buy yours? And she has a long-term business model that 10 years from now, she could be a millionaire, right? But that failure or that success or failure is dependent on her work. And what I like about that is I sit here every day and look at my follower count or my watch hours on YouTube, and I am strangled by these hoops that we have to jump through for these platforms. String doesn't have to jump through those hoops. She made her own hoop, I guess.
Because like I feel like most creators are unicorns. You know how to build up hype. You already know how to build up community. Maybe you don't know the technical aspect of it. That shouldn't stop you. You either find someone else to help you find the technical or provide that technical access. But I do think that, or you find tools so you don't need that technical aspect, right? Or learn from it. That's why YouTube is great. But also, I feel like there's a lack of knowledge because hanging out with you both, I realized that I'm still up here a little bit, so I need to like slowly come down here. So I appreciate all these like questions that you're asking me, because I've been in La La Land, in NFT land, quite a long time.
And that's cool.
So,
We want
I
you to
guess,
be
like,
there because you're leading us, String. And I want people to get this. Like, I am trying to catch it and absorb it as much as I can, because I know it is the future. All right. I know there's the future, but it has so many variables to it, like how you can actually use the NFT, whether, like, in my mind, I'm stuck with NFTs being accessed. All right. So I build an NFT, but that ticket, the NFT, gives you access to me inside of the community. Am I right in saying that? Because it sounds like not only is it access to you, but it's access to other assets that you guys are giving away that has monetary value, or has not monetary value, but has value as well, that in return could be monetized. Am I right in saying that?
So yes. So the value that people use, and that's the Web3 term, is utility. What is the value? And I think people complicate it, because I notice that people have a roadmap, which is like a promise that you give and deliver to your holders.
Right.
And the holders are the people who own the NFTs, and they're your community members, right?
Right.
And just like any other audience, there's your super fans who are super active in your community. These are
Right.
the ones you should listen to. And then there's people who just like want to hold it for financial incentives. And that's what I like, because it's about Web3, because you have to think about the incentives. Because creators, there's two types of creators, I notice. One who thinks about themselves, and one who thinks about the audience. Who do you think is going to succeed in the long run?
The one that thinks about the audience. Wow. I get it.
And and so same thing, but the only problem is like the audience are passive. They don't contribute unless they contribute to Patreon. But then the amount of work, do you think their value is $30? No. So Patreon kind of made it, but then it's just because like everyone saw this as an example of standard. So we kind of fucked ourselves as creators by creating the standards that were $30 per person.
Oh, gotcha.
But the volume game, I'm getting excited about this because like I'm passionate about it. Is like we only need 100. If you're a coach or you're providing things, you only need 100 superfans to be sustainable.
Right.
But if you want to live provide the value and everything like that, do you think $30 times 100 per month is sustainable?
I don't think so.
No.
I've done the math.
Yes, go, Brant. Tell us the maths, because some people.
Well, I go with Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans, and I know that for me to be comfortable, would be six-figure income at $100,000 would be $100 for 1,000 true fans. If I could get every one of those fans to spend $100 throughout the year, so that would be like, a $25 T-shirt, a subscription, and these other things, but you have to get to that 1,000. And that model works really good if you're the Rolling Stones or a huge, a movie star and all these other things. It's harder for us on this end, starting from nothing, working your way up. And I do think that one thing that the NFT is interesting to me is that I push everybody to an email list. I push everybody to Patreon. Patreon falls apart, or they decide not to, they unsubscribe for my email. I lose those people. If they have the NFT, it kind of just follows them around forever, and they can't really get away from you. And if they sell it and they want to make money on it, then that just goes to somebody else, and you're still making money. And I also think about, like, if I was an actor today, all my contracts for my movies would be an NFT, because then any derivative of that project, right, I would get paid for. So if I made Spider-Man 1 and I was Spider-Man, my contract would say, from here on out, every Spider-Man ever made, I get 3%, let's just say. Then for the rest of my life, I'm making that money.
You're so smart. Like, I think people don't realize like how important our IP is. So I just realized, like, one brand deal, my actor friend said, they're cheating you. It's like, why? Because they're using you as an ad, but they're not paying you the value for it. So I had to like learn I still stuff up to this day because it's like another different business model. I'm just happy to have that brand name, but they're not giving me the value, right? So it's almost like we have to continually educate ourselves about different business models, what our value is, and how to identify what their value is. Whereas like the NFT does that already for you.
Identifies the value. So, but this is
the market value. The market value. Just like,
I see what she's saying. Is the market value is if my NFT is if she moves everything to Ethereum and she has it's one Ethereum, let's say, which is however many, let's say it's $3,000. I don't know. Is it 3,000 like right now?
Yes.
Something like that. So she says, you know, I'll do a video for you and your brand for 3,000. I mean, for one Ethereum. They pay her the Ethereum. She does the commercial. Now, no matter if they sell that commercial, use her likeness, it should follow that NFT. That video becomes an NFT that just follows throughout her life, and she still gets some money from that. So she could say, hey, you can use it in your commercials, but if anybody else uses it, you know, it's going to be 15%, whatever you sell it for. But now the open market has decided String is worth 2 Ethereum. Now they have to pay her $6,000, and she didn't set that price. Her value and the value in the public market set the price. Does that make sense? Is that kind of that's kind of what I'm kind of going for. Whereas right now we're just plugging into some system like Patreon and said, I'm worth $30 a month. I'm working, you know. So it is really hard to get your mind wrapped around this because it is liberating and freeing that you're not tied to anything. You're not tied to a Patreon or YouTube or it's your coin, your thing, right?
Your token, your value is worth, and I think because like we put ourselves like $30, that becomes our, people unconsciously cement that and anchor you as a $30 person per month.
Right.
Which devalues you. It's a game of psychology. People are so weird, but like if you have two creators, one's charging $10,000 and another charged $30. Who do you think has the value, more value, or like is worth more? The $10,000 one, because he has the confidence or she has the confidence to say, right, I'm worth $10,000, but you need to like give me $10,000 if you want to work with me. Because they will overlook the $30 one because there's like, if I go invest $30 in it, are they going to give me 2 times or 3 times the value when I work with it? No, the $10,000 one will probably give you like 4 times the value, even though they cost $10,000.
So String, this is what I want people to hear again. This is like, we should have called it the Stream Show TED Talk with String today. Right? So you're giving us the knowledge of the technical side of how we can advance and how we're monetizing ourselves, but you're also teaching us at the same time that creators are worth more than they're giving themselves credit for, because you've already been down that road. You've done the brand deals and you felt like you were taken advantage of. So you built your worth outside of the platforms that we're traditionally know through social media, to say, now I know what I'm worth. So if a brand deal comes to me, I can show a brand deal, this is what I'm worth. If you want to work with me, you have to pay this to get to the audience that you want. Am I right in saying that? And you're using the NFT to help you create that value.
They have to now, because you know why? Even if the NFT is not associated with my brand, I executed it. It's part of my portfolio now. Wow. It's one of my businesses. And then then when they gave me a value, it's like, for example, $1,000. I said, no, I'd tell them outright, $1,000 is not worth my time because I make more than that in my business. So you need to give me something that allows me to compensate my time that you're taking away from my business.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You mentioned earlier that you talked to your actor friend, someone that's in the acting world. Of course, their contracts are completely different than the content creator contracts. And having a mix of that knowledge of what those contracts are like, because I'm sure the numbers are much larger because they hold Hollywood actors, in such high regards. I say Hollywood, but they hold actors in such high regards as influencers. But in your case, you built a real community that is you can number them. Like you can say, hey, this is how many people I have in my community, and now you also can track your own leverage based off of your time. I think that that's so revolutionary. I really do. Brent,
Well,
I'm at all at what Strick is doing here.
yeah, because like it took me a while to realize that we don't leverage ourselves properly. Or the reason, do you know why brands come to us? Because we're cheaper. We're a cheap labor.
Than
Got
going
it.
to an agency. Yes.
Wow.
Because somebody
Yes.
broke this down for me the other day. You're paying for, I ran my own production company. So if you hired me to do a commercial for you, I ran my own ad agency and video production company. I'm going to have to hire a model. I'm going to have to hire a voiceover. I'm going to have to hire a script writer. I'm going to have to shoot it, edit it, whether I'm doing it all myself or I'm hiring people to do that. Now all of a sudden, because and I do this a lot when I worked in commercial, I have to pay a voiceover person on Fiverr, right? So much for a commercial. Then she would say, was this going to run on TV or national TV? Yes. Well, that price is different. So I have to pay her more because I'm using her likeness. She owns her likeness. That is understood through TV, video, or TV and radio and everything else. We didn't know, or well, most people don't know that on the internet. We signed away our likeness to YouTube, and they're making all the money off of us, and Facebook and Instagram and everything else. And the NFT can kind of level that playing field again because it's your license, your contract. One of the things, Melvin had a question here. Can you please go back to a piece of content of song analogy? How would you NFT a piece of content that you create? You know, are saying a digital song piece of content would grow in value. So
I have to say, Brent brought up something that a lot of people don't realize is like you need to think NFT is like licensing deal, or you need to understand what are you licensing, and his knowledge. Like, I just want to like give kudos to Brent because like I had to learn that in the last 2-3 years, so that's why I was able to apply it to the NFT. But a lot of creators don't understand that nuances. So every time I like advise or talk to creators, ask them like, what are you offering them within the contract or the license? And contracts freak people out. It freaks me out still.
right. Well, if you're
It
in
still freaks me out.
the reason I know this is I wanted to be a filmmaker. So as an independent filmmaker, you make a movie, you beg, borrow to get into Sundance Film Festival or one of these markets, and someone buys your film. Well, they buy it from you for $30,000 or $100,000, but you weren't smart enough to add distribution because there's distribution in the U.S., distribution in the world, right? So, you know, a lot of creators, musicians, and movie makers get screwed by the lawyers and by the owners because, right, and to go back to Melvin's answer, if I made a digital short and I sold it to HBO and they ran it and they paid me as an NFT, it does really, really well, but then it dies, right? And so they go into syndication. They sell it to, I don't know, Roku for free. But in my contract, I said that every time it plays, I'll get $100. I don't have to rewrite the contract. I don't have to follow it around. I don't have to have lawyers to follow it up. The NFT does all that work for it. If we get to this point where the blockchain is that integrated with everything. And that, because I also see with like String, if I'm a unicorn, chubby unicorn, when
you are a
AR
chubby unicorn, but go ahead.
Thank you. When AR and VR come out, maybe she says, hey, everyone that has this owner, you get a puffy jacket that looks like a unicorn. Now, in my VR glasses, I look around New York and I see 10 other people with unicorns. I know they're on my team, right? They're my person. But then I can take that same outfit and use it in Fortnite, or I can take it to use it in, another video game. So, and that now she's making more and more and more value every time we use these NFTs. So she really doesn't know how far it could go. It could go everywhere, right? And you're always going to make
That's the goal.
some amount of money on it.
Yeah. So
That's crazy
I love
to
how
me.
Brett, yeah. This is like another conversation in entire, like how come the NFT is just like the first layer of the 2D image, but what if it holds the assets where we could be ourselves in different forms, whether it be like 3D form, a pixel form, But that technology isn't there yet. But Brent is essentially saying the possibilities that I'm excited about. And we're trying to like, even though we're not creating the infrastructure for it, but what we're doing is like preparing for that moment.
Because all this is going to be built on blockchain, so you've got this. You've put your flag in the ground and said, "Hey, I have this NFT, and it can grow throughout blockchain or Web3. When that 10 years from now, you're already there."
Yes. Yeah. So
Or
I guess
we're
like,
all going to be trying to catch up.
So I guess like we should go back to the creators, because it's like I feel like this is like totally a different conversation about business models. But for a creator, I think the first step they should do is just like be a consumer first, because these are some of the questions that everyone's going to ask anyways. Like, how do I buy ETH? Whereas like I thought about it a little bit differently. I didn't ignore Web2 entirely, but what I did was try to focus the people who already had ETH in their wallet. Because the education layer is not, I don't need to like teach them the fundamentals. I could like skip a little bit. The maturity level is different, right? So that means like I could talk to them about some of the things that's happening in NFT. But sometimes when you hang out in the Web2 space, which is what we're doing now, we have to like go back to basics.
Right.
Like, what are the fundamentals? Because they're not familiar with it. Totally understandable. So sometimes when I talk, go ahead, you have something.
Well, I was going to say that. So let's start there. What wallet do you suggest people get?
Well, MetaMask allows you to like buy and ETH. It's almost like, I just realized how big the gap is sometimes, because like just buying ETH is difficult.
It is.
So we need to simplify that process. And people don't realize like you probably have to spend, I recommend having $1,000 in ETH. I mean, of USD in ETH. You don't need to buy one ETH, you need to buy some worth, so then you can buy a few NFTs. And the first one you should buy that resonates with you, because it's like your first ticket experience. And everything that you learn, just keep them as lessons or investments about learning what the future is like. Sometimes you stuff up along the way, sometimes you might get rugged, which is like a word about scan and scam, because there's no regulations out there. But what you're doing is you need to like go explore, because it's the Wild West out there. There's no rules.
Right.
You have to create your own rules. You need to create your own boundaries. You need to find the group that you want to be part of, because then if a good group looks after you, you're set.
So let me say this. I want to talk about your community, so we can get people aware, our audience aware of your community, and they can join. But I also want to say, I want to repeat this and have you say it again. The idea, if you are a creator, you need to be thinking about being a creator that has a business, that is creating for themselves as a business. Can you go talk about that a little more, and then tell everybody how they can connect with you in your community?
So I think one thing that I learned really quickly, that I was able to get brand deals with Lenovo and other bigger brands, is because I think like a business. And I got cheated less. I still get a little bit cheated, but I feel like because I understand how to like be like a business, my business model is like a business, how to be sustainable, allows me to like live my creativity and my freedom, right? I can look after my family now, I can look after myself, I can buy a house now, right? But I like everything that I learned is because I think like a business. But all the skill sets that I have as a creator is something that people want. And then that's how I was able to turn into a business. Like Brent's knowledge, like filmmaking, has come to fruit. Like I feel like he would translate really well into the blockchain space, because he's like, what is the rules of my contract if you want to buy this asset piece or this piece, like one-on-one piece? How much will like like every time it goes in the secondary sale, how much do I want it to go into my pocket, which is like 5%, 10%, or like what are the rules around it? So it's almost like you need to think about rules at the beginning of that particular asset, or the access to you, Strick, if you want to be a coach, and you only need 100, but you only provide 100.
Right.
And then like if you want, but people, the 101 person, once they go into it, he has to wait for someone to he's going to be in the queue, for example, because he can't. There's only 100 there in existence.
Right.
So that creates FOMO and demand, right?
Right.
So, and it plays onto that because he's like, oh, I want to be part of that 100.
That's right.
And people don't realize, like, these are all games. Everything you know can be turned into some kind of like business model or like access, because I think people want access to you, Strick. It could be just 50 if you want to start off with, right?
Right.
But the goal is like 100. To me, 100 is a good sweet spot because of that. Who wrote that? There's a 1,000 true fans, but I think 1,000 is too big for an independent creator. 100 is like actually a sustainable sweet spot.
I like that. We got a couple questions that's in here, String, I want to get to, and we're going to wrap this up. I know you have definitely given us a lot of time, but I'm going to answer these, put these couple of questions up for you to answer, and we'll wrap it up here. So hopefully this doesn't get us going down too much of a rabbit hole, but just look at my image with Michael Jackson concert. How can I make an NFT off of my own negatives?
So, but then you might get sued for this because it's Michael Jackson's likeness that you're profiting.
Right. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that, unfortunately.
If you had a really, really unique photo, you would have to go to the estate of Michael Jackson and see if you could make a deal with them, right? So this is what you could do. You could have the negative and they say, we really like this. I want to you say, I want a license to sell posters. They will say, okay, pay us $100,000. We'll give you the likeness. We'll give you the copyright, the rights to use that in that one poster only, right? But what you could do is turn it around on them and say, well, I'm going to do it as an NFT, and I'll split the NFT with you 50-50 because, or however you want to do that. So you could do it, but you would have to work with the estate of Michael Jackson because he owns his likeness,
But this is a good idea.
It's a good idea. Infamously it's the SEC team, the US or the Arkansas Razorbacks. You can't do anything with that logo for the SEC football team, or they will come get their money from you. Period. Now you can pay it, and it's reasonable. If you want to make T-shirts, it's like $100,000 a year, but you're gonna have to pay it.
I love how Brant already he knows the business models of NFTs.
I know business. I just don't know NFTs. So I'm trying to relate this to the NFT, and I do think it is too hard. The whole I haven't just dove into minting a coin and all this other. You know what I mean? It would take me probably a month of just solid, never coming up for air, just research.
I'm playing around with this tool, but I have to test it out first because I don't like sharing tools unless I go through the process myself. Yeah. Because I want to know how simple the process is or what the gap is. Anyway, go, and if it works, then I'll let you both know.
All right, cool.
Thank you, and I'm going to follow up on it for real.
There's a couple other questions if you want to get to those.
There was we slid past this, but your Lenovo brand deal is I saw the commercial String. That is.
I didn't get paid for that. I know. I now have to I know. This is one of the lessons. They only paid me in 2 laptops. I just realized. This is my actor friend. I'm just gonna call it out. My actor friend told me that I should monetize that.
Hey.
But.
You live and you learn, right?
You have to learn.
I get it. I get it. And what I'm trying to do is understand it from you, so I have to go down. I don't have to learn those lessons. Learn it from you and go forward, and because you're so ahead of us. So I want to. Steve asked us about a quick definition about the blockchain. I don't know if there's a quick definition that we could talk about the blockchain.
I've got one.
I was about to say it's like an order book.
Yep. So what it is, and I'll do this real quick. It is a contract, right? Actually what it is a ledger. And a ledger, just like banks use, to say, I have $20 and I'm going to give that $20 to String. That money never physically goes anywhere. A bank ledger just says, hey, String, you have $20 more, and Brant, you have $20 less. And there's computers and everything involved with that. When you get into the blockchain and you're using distributed computing, and this is the way I look at it, if you ever did the SETI thing where you turn your computer on to help find aliens through using all the computers in the world to chop through some data, that is kind of what blockchain is that when these people that are mining, what they're doing is they're node for the contracts. So all this contract gets multiplied all over the world, and it's constantly checking back and forth with each other. So this ledger is constantly going around the world saying String has 20, Brant has less 20, String has 20, Brant has less 20. And so it is actually just these registers all over the world, undistributed. Nobody owns them. That's what these miners are. They're using their computer power, and to pay them for doing all the background work, they can make coins or mints, meaning those coins. So that's really all it is a contract. It's just a digital contract, and it could be worth a fat unicorn, or it could be worth $20. It's just whatever the rules you set to it.
But the technical, Brent provides the technical aspect of it from a very high level thing. It's almost like a once it's put into the blockchain, which is like a glorified database or like a programmable database, it's there.
It's it.
You could not change it anymore. It's there.
Right. And I would
it's
say
like a Lego. Yeah, it stacks up.
Everybody that's listening to this, we are in the future in this conversation. Please educate yourselves. This is the future. We're doing this ahead of time. String is leading in this from a content creator standpoint. Like, get into her community, but learn about cryptocurrency, learn about the blockchain, learn about NFTs, because I promise you it's going to be a way of life. And if you are what we call early adopters, you will have the best fruits from your labors getting on now. Right now, it's a lot of work. String has already done it. Like, you've done a lot of the research, right? You figure some of these things out. She's got tools. She has a community that's teaching this stuff. Let's see if we can get involved to learn what blockchain is, learn what crypto. Make sure you have the Ethereum wallet. There's tons of ways to get into the NFT space. But as you're creating, learn this stuff, because it will be the future. Yes, ma'am.
Guess what? OpenSea just added, you could buy with your credit card now, but it doesn't really let you know what the experience is like. But it made it easier for people to buy NFTs. How do you learn? Steve, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll give you some instructions, because I'm still figuring out the onboarding experience as well. But otherwise, go to chubbyverse.com and click on the link about Chubby Friends. They cost about 0.1 ETH, which is about $300 to enter.
That is awesome. Now, James Worthy also hit you up and saying, hey, I remember her. Like, you actually did an interview with Gary Vee? I didn't know that.
I know. I like camped in front of a conference, because there's only one conference door to that conference, and I knew he wasn't inside there. So I was camping out in front, tweeted at him, got my community retweeted. And then he's like, hey, can I interview you? And D-Rock hold my phone.
Oh, very cool.
Crazy. That's
awesome.
Crazy.
I'm so tenacious sometimes. When I have like a mission, I'm going to plan it out. How do I increase my probability of success?
I like that. You know what? Of course, I've talked about how we connected through Rob Balasabbath. Of course, we did his show a couple of times, and I just was in awe about you as a creator. I love the fact that you talked about fried chicken, because I like fried chicken too. But it was an idea to get your attention from it's a marketing idea. I love the idea from a marketing standpoint that you did that. But now all the stuff that you're teaching us, like if people are willing to handle the friction of the knowledge, the learning curve, that's what I want to call it, the learning curve of getting into the NFT space, I promise everybody will be much better off. And it's not just about finances, but it's monetizing your monetizing your time. And now you're at a place where you can now say, hey, this is what the value of my time is. And you're doing very well, because if somebody comes to you as a brand deal with your community, they have to now really stretch or pay you like you're a Hollywood actor or actress. And I think that's awesome.
But to position yourself that, you have to prove
right
the history of it. like, I think one of my brand deals is like, after Lenovo opened doors for me, but now I can navigate and negotiate deals with future big brands as big as Lenovo now.
Now you have
Even
an
though they don't
opportunity.
know that yeah.
So they
Even though
kind
I
of
signed that contract.
So
Yes,
whatever
the door is
whatever
open.
whatever money they didn't pay you was your tuition that you paid to learn, basically.
Yes, pretty much.
Very good.
And I love that. Sometimes we have to learn those lessons, but don't do it on the second time, please.
Learn it the first
Do
time.
it once.
Learn it the first time. So let's do this. How can people connect with you, at least on not Instagram, but LinkedIn?
Yes. So I'm string story everywhere. If you're like a brand person, try to find or get all the assets that you need, like the domains or whatever. String story on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Lately, Instagram has been my household for creator conversation, not on LinkedIn. All creators seem to be talking to me on Instagram.
Okay, I didn't know that.
On
I
the
gotta
DMs.
find you on Instagram. Okay.
Yes, LinkedIn seems to be like where brands and businesses talk to me, but creators talk to me on Instagram and on Twitter. This is where I'm like super geeky, a bit of a troll on Twitter, because that's where like the Web3 community hangs out.
Gotcha.
And Brandon's Strick, we have to talk offline, but I have to like onboard you onto my community as well.
Done.
I am just following
Yeah.
you and sending you a direct message on Twitter. I have connected with you on LinkedIn. If you'll connect with me, then
Yes,
we can message
yes.
back and forth. But yes, we could anytime. I'm very, very interested. I would love to be a part of your group and go into the future.
Yes. It's just, it's
That
just
is
stickers,
awesome.
by the way. By the way, like sometimes I learn, like I just keep on going viral on other things. Like I uploaded Chubbyverse stickers onto Giphy and we got 43 million views.
What?
IIP is that strong, so that's why I'm like, you have to come in now, because like there's
Wow.
something going on. I know.
There's
I keep
something
on going
going on.
viral now. But there's something
That's
going
awesome.
on.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
I'm in. Like wherever you're doing, I am in. Like let's talk about it. And for the sake of your time, let's wrap up the show here so we can talk about how to get with string. Brant, let me say this. I am
Okay.
like at complete awe at this young lady. Like
Oh, yeah, that
I
was
absolutely love the fact that we found someone that's pushing the envelope for all of the content creators. And guys, if you don't share the show, if you're not re-watching this show, you're doing yourself a disservice. Figure out what we talked about today with the blockchain, NFTs, creators knowing how to be a creator, but also learning that you are a business. We always say you're a brand, like you are the brand, but you have to have a business as well, right?
Right. And I'd like to ask everybody, we had like a bunch of comments. Thank you everybody that said this was a great show. If you'd like to see more content like this, we're trying to expand some of the stuff that we do on the stream show. We're kind of beyond the cameras and microphones. We want to help you learn how to do this as a business. So, we'll have more tutorials and things, but if this is something you'd be interested in more of, or if there's other things that we need to cover, please put it in the chat here, comment. You can connect with us anywhere from YouTube to the eCam community group. Reach out to us and let us know what you would like to learn more of. And if we don't know it, we will find the people like String and have them on the show. And we'll kind of dig in and kick some tires and see if we can help everybody kind of level up. I think one of the things Strick and I talked about is we saw this place in the pandemic. We were all kind of here, right? Some people went back to work. Some people dropped off. Some people increased. We're here for you, but we want to keep moving up. So we're trying to level up our game for you.
And the mission is always the same, to help streamers succeed, guys. So that's why we're here. And thank you for checking us out tonight. I'm super excited about our show. Like, I love the show today. So thank you for taking your time. Next Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, you got the stream show with the stream guys, DJ Strick, Brant Collins. We'll love to see you guys next week.